Zane here, and I've seen a couple of posts going around on forums about how to get started on chicken picking guitar, so I just thought I'll do a video about it rather than respond to everybody who puts up a post like that. So my answer is, first of all, seek out good chicken pickers to listen to. There's a lot of them out there. Brent Mason, Johnny Hyland, Daniel Donato, Ray Flack, Albert Lee, you know, the list goes on and on. James Mitchell's one of my personal favorites, a guy from Nashville, Tennessee. All you got to do is just type in, Vince Gill's another really good one, fantastic one. If you type in one of those names to YouTube, you're probably going to find that it serves you up similar ones. It's just the local dog. And just listen to as much content as possible. I really think that a good place to start is just listen to anything Brent Mason's done. It basically wrote the book. He and Albert Lee kind of wrote the book on modern chicken picking. So when you listen to it a lot, you get an idea. It's a language, okay? It's no different to learning French or Spanish. And if you were going to learn those actual languages, then you would be consuming as much content as possible, listening to the news in Spanish, reading Spanish, listening to movies in Spanish, Spanish music, and taking classes as well. And then ideally you would spend a period of time in a Spanish speaking country and be able to speak Spanish. It's the same kind of thing here. So fortunately with the internet, all of this stuff is online. So just listen to every single thing you can get your hands on and get an idea of what exactly chicken picking guitar sounds like in all tempos, in all keys, in all subgenres of country music. The next thing is, make a decision. Are you going to play it with a flat pick or are you going to play with a thumb pick? I play banjo, so I'm very familiar playing with a thumb pick. I use one all the time, and I grew up playing a lot of Chet Atkins, Travis style picking stuff. But for some reason, I just don't feel that comfortable doing it, using that technique when I'm playing country music. I don't know why, I don't really like it that much. So I'm a flat pick guy. That means I hold my flat pick like this and I use middle and ring to pluck the strings. So make a decision which way you're going to play. It's cool if you want to learn how to do both, but I think you need to pretty early on decide where you're going to go, because that's how you're going to build your technique. Then once you've done that, try and find either a teacher in your local area or content online. I've got a bunch of videos on this very channel on how to develop chicken picking technique, exercises to go through. You know, you can use acrylic nails on your fingers. I choose not to. I choose to use the flesh of my finger. I feel that I have used nails before, but they just chip all the time. And flesh, it's always there. And I like that sort of beefy sound that you can get out of the flesh on your fingers. So once you've made that decision and you've found some of that stuff, then I think the thing you really need to focus on initially is your picking hand. That's the thing that's going to be vastly different to what you've done beforehand. Yes, your left hand has to do some fast runs and it has to play double stop lines, but if you've come from just playing, you know, with a pick, alternate picking down up, now you've got to factor in when do you use your finger, how do you use your finger, how do you use multiple fingers at the same time, and you just need to come up with a couple of generic exercises and work on them each day. It's like going to the gym. Again, they're in a video that I've done called Chicken Pickin' Technique Explained. And then the next thing I would start doing is transcribing. Once you've sort of got a lay of the land and you know how Brent Mason sounds and all of these other super pickers, then what I would suggest doing is collect all of the different songs in a particular key, maybe all of the songs you know that are in the key of A, and then gradually start working out those licks. And once you've worked out those licks, then you want to get the fingerings down, be able to play them. Don't get too attached to them, because you don't want to be a one lick player where you've only got one A lick and one B lick and one D lick and all that stuff. So you got your licks in different keys, and you want to have multiples of those different ones. Once you can learn it and you can play it, you know, let go of it, learn another one. And the whole plan is that you learn so many of them, you just start thinking fluently in the key of A rather than knowing I've got lick 1, 2, or 3 in the key of A. And you want to build that technique, paying attention. Learning the notes to a lick is only half of what's required. The other thing is to make it actually sound like proper chicken picking, getting that tone, getting that spank. You know, part of the thing I love about Brad Paisley, apart from just his songs and his licks, is his tone. I think he's got a killer tone. And if you played a Brad Paisley solo without that tone, then I'm just not interested in listening to it. It's the tone that I think really sells me. So don't neglect that aspect of things. And then the final thing is, if possible, it's not always possible, try and play with other people. If you go to a local, club that you're going to jam with on a, like a Friday afternoon or Saturday night, and you're just going to be thrown into the deep end where you have to come up with licks, preferably with people who are better than you, and that's the fastest way to learn. You're just like, you're in the battlefield and you get thrown solos, you're going to make a fool of yourself, you're going to get your ass kicked, but that's the whole point. If you can't do that, then utilize all of the wonderful jam track tools that are on YouTube, whether it's iReal Pro, the iPad software for backing tracks, or just type in country backing track in A or whatever in YouTube, and just play along. Change the settings of the tempos so that there's no point in playing a fast country tempo thing at like 180 beats a minute if you're just going to be constantly tripping over. So you might want that groove, knock it down to 50% of the speed, see how you go. That's the thing, is like getting a feel for the rhythm of this stuff as well. If you've come from playing blues or playing jazz, the rhythm and the drive and the way the lines are constructed in those genres is quite different to country music. Country music actually has probably more in keeping with jazz than it does with blues and rock, in the sense that we think about lines in country music. You're going to play a solo which is predominantly going to be 16th notes or 8th notes, just straight lines through changes, and you change with the chords. That's the other thing to keep your head around. If you're in A and you're playing over an A, that's cool, but when it goes to D, even though the song, the broad spectrum of the song's in the key of A, when that band goes to D, you're in D now, and so forth. So getting your head around that stuff, the phrasing, understanding the language, that's what I was saying, like you want to listen to this stuff so that you pick up all of the nuance. And then just play a lot. Just play as much guitar as you can do. It's such a cool style. It's so rewarding. It's super funky. A lot of people don't realize that, chicken picking guitar is like the funkiest. I reckon it's more funk in chicken picking guitar than there is in actual funk guitar. The way you spank the notes, all the syncopation, the bends, it's just the best. And also really paying attention to what other instruments do in a country music setting. We as guitar players have kind of formed a style based off stealing things from other players. Like all of our bends, like my philosophy is that that's us basically trying to sound like a pedal steel or a lap steel. The double stops, that's our attempt to try and sound like a fiddle. They did it before us. And a lot of like the fast rolls, that's just trying to sound like a banjo. And so if you listen to that, listen to a little bit of bluegrass stuff and any of the fast lines, that's just flat picking. I'm not saying you have to do it with a flat pick, but it's the kind of thing you hear guys like Tony Rice, Clarence White, Brian Sutton, Jake Workman, all those guys, those acoustic flat pickers. We're just doing a hodgepodge of all of that kind of stuff. So you want to know where it comes from, and then listen to guys who have masterfully assembled it. If you got any questions, please hit me up. Follow me on YouTube, Zane Banks, on Instagram with the Rev Dr. Z, and also on my Facebook page at Zane Banks Artist Page. I would love to hear from you, and if you got any questions about guitar playing and anything related to that, please drop me a line. Take it easy.